Welcome to the Preppin Patriots podcast.
Oh, what's up, everybody? It's Monday. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Preppin Patriots podcast. And I want to start out by saying that the day began with President Biden at the White House seeking to calm fears of a banking crisis before leaving Washington to go to old sunny California. So, yeah, we're here to talk about busted banks and bailouts because it's fresh, it's hot. It's one of those things that, you know, we kind of, I have Tourette syndrome when I think about this because I go back to 2008. So is this the start of another 2008? So I want to welcome Cameron, my sidekick.
How's it going?
He's actually the leader. I'm the sidekick. But he's a little tanner than he's a little tanner from our last podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little bit more tanner because we just came back from little Cancun.
Yeah, we did. And yeah, how quick for Biden to respond to that one item over all the things recently.
Right.
Man. Yeah. Kind of frustrating.
It's like, we had a train derailment with chemicals and people having to, not a peep from them, but not even like a day, 24 hours. And he's all coming out trying to calm fears. So, yeah. Tells you that money talks and is the most important thing. Not people. Not people. You are nothing when it comes to banks and their money. That might be a little harsh. I don't know if I should say that. That's just how I feel.
Yeah. Well, so just for those that don't know, a few days ago, Silicon Valley Bank, they're the ones that went under first. And I think I saw something around it being like $200 billion in assets.
Yeah.
16th largest bank was it in the nation? Yeah, I think it was in the nation.
I think so. Yeah, it was in the nation.
But then last night or yesterday is when the New York bank ended up going down as well. And so I had sent a message to JT this morning saying,
pull all your money out. Pull all your money out. I texted
because we don't know what's coming, right?
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing we have to figure out is it coming or if this is just a one-off of a bank failure. Now, like the last time this happened, you know, I think Bear Stearns went down and then people were like, okay, what's going on? And we didn't really know what to do, yada, yada, yada. And then next thing you know, everything's going down. But that was because of, what was the reason for that? It had to do with housing and, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember. It's gone. Boom, gone. Anyway, the reason why all that stuff happened was because housing market and they were doing some funny stuff with investments and things. I need to watch that movie again. I should have watched it before I watched the podcast. What is that? They made a couple movies about 2008, but in any case,
I've still never seen any of them.
What?
I haven't seen any of them. So I should probably watch all those.
You need to watch those movies, man. It really explains what, like how this all came about. And there's two movies in particular that I'm thinking of, and I can't for the life of me. You know what? They'll come to me as we're talking. They'll just randomly pop in my brain, and I'll just come out. But in any case, yeah. So is this the start of a banking failure? And if it is this just going to be another like 2008? Like the Fed has been raising rates like really, really fast. And that was what I was reading on some things today is they raised rates so fast. And SVB, the Silicon Valley Bank, that was like a bank for like startup tech companies mainly, right? Or like people with businesses. Like I know Etsy was really affected by that. And there's Etsy put out something to some of their shop owners like, hey, we're delayed on paying you, like the payouts, the Etsy payouts, like we're delayed on paying you. And at first they're like, we don't know when, but then they came out like, I don't know, this afternoon was just like, you'll have them by tomorrow. You'll have your payments by tomorrow, your payout. So Etsy was one of the big companies that was affected by this SVB crash burn scenario.
Yeah, and there was other random scenarios. I saw like Wells Fargo, they were having some technical issues where there were some negative transactions, money funds not coming through, that kind of stuff, which caused more panic because people are like, oh, great, this is it. It's happening. So I don't know. I go back to I don't see how it could get any better, because we, at one point in time, we're backing our US dollar and matching it with gold. That quickly stopped happening. And now we've been printing out so much money. I mean, we're at 31 trillion, almost, $31.6 trillion in debt. That is ridiculous. And I know that Biden just released some budget plan that's supposed to be like another $13 trillion in debt in the long run. So
I didn't read that plan. I heard that there's some tax increases in that.
Yep. Tax increases, but it also means more government officials to help, ring everything in. It's going to mean more paychecks to pay. I saw a really great post on it.
Typically, if you raise taxes to raise your revenue, wouldn't the smart move be to raise taxes in order to maybe knock out a little bit of this 30 some odd trillion dollars? Or we just don't care anymore because we're the dominant world reserve currency and we can do whatever the crap we want?
Yeah, I found a great article. Let me see if I can find it here. I'll keep looking for it here. But they had really good highlights to list it out for his budget. So I'll look for that here. But it was great. I mean, not great. It wasn't great at all. I'm just saying, like, it was good to see when people actually like break it down and show what's actually part of it. I really like when they do that. Yeah,
that's so. The question I have with all this is, we typically, like, to be honest, like, as my prepping keeps going and as I'm doing my things to build my preps and all that, for the different scenarios I'm preparing for, financial collapse, I gotta be honest, financial collapse is kind of on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to like things that I'm preparing for, because like, how do you prepare for a financial collapse? Do I need a bunch of just cash? Well, if the financial system crumbles and the dollar's worthless, what's the point of that? Do I gotta go buy gold and silver? What do you do to prepare for stuff like that? And the type of crash that comes in, like back in 2008, it wasn't the entire financial system crashed and burned where the dollar was worthless. It was just like people lost their retirements and people lost homes and all that stuff. So there's different varying levels of degree when I think about financial prepping and what that really means. So hence why that's kind of on the lower list. Cause like, I don't know.
I would agree with that, hands down. I don't feel like I'm prepared at all. I know that I follow a lot of people like Robert Kiyosaki, guy from Rich Dad Poor Dad. And he is all about get rid of your cash because it's worthless. It's absolutely worthless. Always talks about God's money, gold, silver, having physical items. So when it comes to animals, when it comes to art, when it comes to just physical things that you could trade, I know we have those things. I mean, but at some point in time, what else can you bring to the table to help trade for stuff? I have purchased silver, but it was in my initial, like, first time purchasing silver. Oh, what do I want to get? Oh, these are cool. So I got some, I've got some here, but they're like American flag bars.
Yeah.
And they're like 1 ounce bars. I just thought they were cool, but it would be better to get stuff like the Eagles, the silver coins or gold coins that are minted in US or Canada or whatever. They know what those are. When people see those, they know, okay, I know its value. I know this, I know that. But that's probably the biggest question that I'm always asked when I'm talking to my wife about gold and silver and wanting to purchase more. The first question I always get asked, whether it's her or my mother-in-law or whoever I'm talking to, is, well, when the financial system collapses, how do you even use your gold and silver? Like, okay, I've got silver. What's its value? Like, I have no clue. How do I even use that to buy items? And,
I think in that scenario, I don't think the silver that you have, unless it's like Mad Max collapse, where like it's literally we go into Mad Max. I think if it's just like the financial sector collapses and the dollar is erased. Okay?
It's gone. Yeah.
Is gone. Let's just assume that the dollar's gone, right? I would assume that any silver or gold that I had would be used to purchase whatever new currency replaces the dollar. So I don't think it'd be used for a barter. Maybe, I don't know, but I'm assuming that it wouldn't technically be used for a bartering thing. Maybe short term, but I don't think that's the main reason why I should, we should hoard silver or gold. I think for whatever replaces the dollar, that's what we can use to buy into that new currency and be ahead of everybody else. Because if everybody else doesn't have, if the dollar's gone and all that, everything, like their bank account reads $0 in dollars, and everything's gone and wiped out, then I would assume having silver or gold to like trade in for the new currency is going to get you that further ahead when the new system, whatever the new system may be. So,
and that makes sense.
That's my take.
I haven't, as you're saying, talking about our preps, I haven't done that research yet. I haven't figured out, okay, what am I going to do if a collapse happens? How am I going to be prepared for that financially? How am I going to be able to sell off certain items, trade in certain items? Do I barter? I'm good at bartering, but what's the value of something when it comes down to it? So,
well, that's
if you
that's
need food,
point.
What do you trade?
But that's a good
it?
point. You're good at bartering, but in a post financial collapse system, let's just say it takes the whole financial sector, American dollar crashes tomorrow, right? It's how long before it takes before something else replaces it? Is that a 1 month, 6 month, or 1 year thing? Okay, let's just say on the outset, let's go right in the middle. Let's just say it's a 6 month thing. 6 months before the dollar is replaced by something else. The yen, the Chinese currency, whatever that is that the yen? No, that's a yuan. Yuan, whatever.
Wuhan.
The yuan. No, Wuhan is where the virus came from. Anyway,
the yuan is the currency.
Yuan.
Yes,
the yuan.
Sorry.
Anyway, let's just say it's the yuan. So let's just say at the outset, 6 months. 6 months before some other currency is now the new world reserve currency. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah. So your bartering thing. I think you and I would be fine with food, water, the basics, because we've prepped for it. Like we don't have to worry about bartering and trading for 6 months. Because we have 6 months worth of living things to do. Now, the only unknown here is like, okay, I have a mortgage, you have a mortgage. What does that mean for the mortgages? Is that like, if the dollar is no more, are banks going to be still coming after us for our worthless dollars? Or do we, that's where it gets the unknown. So, but as far as the basic bare essentials, I think if you prep for it, food, water, shelter, all that other good stuff, you'll be fine for 6 months. Now, that's going to be a very hard 6 months, and it will almost be like, because you have to imagine like the social instability and all that. Just because I say 6 months, the currency gets replaced, that doesn't mean that we're back to normal in 6 months, because the social unrest and all that crap that's going to happen, we'd be lucky to even recover from that. So if it all collapses and the dollar goes away tomorrow, you might as well, in my opinion, call that your, we're going to enable our bug out plan, or we're going to enable our whatever plan you have in place. That's
bug in, bug out.
That's where you're going to hit the go button on it. So, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with this SVB thing. And if more tumbles or more knots. The stock markets today were kind of shaky. I watched them all day long. They were up, they were down. They ended up like right there, like, I don't know, plus 12 or something. So like, I think investors didn't really know what to do. And I think they're waiting for the Fed to figure something out.
Exactly. Yeah. And they were trying to get a gauge on, is this inciting enough panic where people are going out and going to start pulling all their money out of the banks? I don't think it was at that level. It didn't help that originally, the Silicon Valley Bank wasn't going to be backed up when it comes to their currency. And then all of a sudden you've got the Federal Reserve coming out saying, okay, yeah, we will cover it. So, we'll cover the deposits now. But then you had the New York Bank right afterwards, and they did the exact same thing for the New York Bank. So I think people are kind of in that lulled sense of like, okay, everything's going to be okay. Like, I don't need to take all my money out, or I'm part of a credit union and it covers this certain amount of money or whatever the case may be. But it people should have those backups. So you shouldn't keep all of your money in one spot, just like you should never keep all of your eggs in one basket. There's lots of mottos out there. There's a lot of phrases out there that keeping all your money, like I know some people that have all their money in stocks or all their money in their bank account or all their money in whatever. That's where they always say you need to have a diverse portfolio.
Yep.
Got your money spread out all over the place. Are you working additional jobs to bring in more income? So if you do lose your job, I saw all the people for SVP where they were now looking for jobs because the bank's no longer there, that kind of stuff. So
right. If
you lose your job, can you pay for all your stuff still? I mean, the cash is still around, so can you afford things?
Yeah.
But that's something that I'm definitely working on that myself. We're talking about having more material items on us. And then not only that, but you got to think of what your worth is as well. Do you have other skills? Can you do things to, if you don't have anything to barter with, do you have any skills to help with certain scenarios or certain situations to get that currency, whatever that may be, to get food, that kind of stuff. So I don't know what that is. Some people it's mowing a lawn. Some people it's taking care of things, walking a dog, whatever. But
those points are legitimate, and most people don't. I don't think most people even care right now that some investment bank turned up end, and maybe two turned up end because it hasn't affected them. But it's that's what started the 2008 collapse. I mean, it started with one or two banks, and then it just tumbled from there. And if the FDIC, which is the place that insures banks and us, like our deposits, they only have what they say. It was so many billions of dollars in the FDIC account, but you think about it, that's nothing if you have multiple banks. I mean, and that is there to cover deposits in case of this exact thing. And you have the Federal Reserve coming out and going, no, we're going to cover this. We're going to do this. And they did it for one, they did it for two. They're going to be doing it for everybody else, or they're going to be reversing what they've done with rate hikes. Now that they've gotten a couple points of interest, now they can come back and pull that stuff kind of back. But is that that? If they think that's their smoking gun, we'll just pull rates back to zero. I don't know if it's going to work this time. I just don't know.
I have a suspicious feeling that this is all leading towards something else. This is a great example of why you shouldn't have cash. And so that's why we need to go towards this new digital currency. But if they end up going down that route, then, I mean, think about it. If they want to get away from cash, they want to get away from, they're trying to get more and more control over money. That's the best way of doing it, or easiest way of doing it, is creating a digital currency like a Bitcoin or something like that, and call it, FedCoin. And now they can help give money where they need it, and then they would have more control over it, and then they would be able to, I don't know. That's maybe the direction I think may be happening, but
maybe you might be right. But also remember, since was it Nixon, whoever took us off the gold standard, right? Now it's all about the dollar. We're a debt-based economy, and this debt-based economy doesn't work if there's no confidence in the dollar. That's the value behind the dollar. So the value behind the dollar is no longer gold and silver. It's, hey, we're the United States, trust us, and we'll cover whatever. That's the thing. It's all about confidence. So if you have multiple banks fail, and then investors start losing confidence, and then people, you and I, start losing confidence, and there's bank runs everywhere, right? Confidence is now destroyed. Now, if the government comes out and says, oh yeah, well, trust us, this time we'll do it right. We're going to do this digital thing. We're going to get new age, talk all the millennial lingo and all that stuff. Do you think that's going to be enough for people like you and I? Well, maybe not you and I, but the average person, the average Joe, to go, oh yeah, Mr. Government, I trust you now. You have my best interest. Let's just get on board with this. I don't think so, but
no,
you never know.
I don't think so.
Who knows? Because as of right now, I texted my wife this morning, I'm like, we need to pull this much money out of the savings account and just keep it as cash, even though like now I'm like, okay, if I pull this cash out, but cash is worthless, what do I do with it? So do I pull cash out, or do I just say, hey, we're just going to invest? We're just going to say, hey, we're going to take, I don't know, 7% of our savings account, and we're just going to go buy some silver because I can't afford gold.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're just gonna go buy some
I'm in the
silver.
same, we're the same boat.
Let's just take, 7% of the total amount of our savings account, like 7%, go buy a bunch of silver and just keep it in the safe. And maybe that's our small hedge against calamity. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is here because I don't really prep for this. I know it's a possibility, and I know it'll happen again because our government's dumb and they suck with money, but it's not something I've prepared for. So I'm kind of, I'm solar flares. And I can tell you how to prepare for it. Financial collapse, it's not my wheelhouse.
And that's a difficult one because I don't think either you or I are part of any real groups that are big on that. We're part of certain ones. I know, like on the Prepper Broadcasting Network, they just did a segment almost 2 hours ago now where they talked about all this stuff. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that and see if they've brought up any really good points that I may not know. And I'm sure there's people out there that have those kind of points, but wouldn't it have been nice growing up in high school or something like that, college, where they actually taught you this kind of stuff?
Right?
Like, here's how you diversify. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do that. But we don't get taught any of that. Instead, I got to read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad and continue to follow him where he says, stay away from the fake money. Bailouts begin. More fake money to invade the sick economy. Still recommend the same response. Buy more gold, silver, or Bitcoin. Which I don't know about the Bitcoin.
Bitcoin's like, it's crashing and burning right now.
Exactly. So I don't know why that recommendation's out there, because especially if you need technology to be able to even get it. In the prepper community, prepper world, if you can't touch it, it's not real. So I want to hold it physically. It needs to be in my possession.
I've dabbled in crypto. I've dabbled in it. I own a little bit. I own a little bit, but maybe like $100 worth of crypto. I bought
I bought several different ones thinking that maybe they might take off like Bitcoin did and I'll get a whole bunch of money. But no, that's not the case.
Oh, gosh. I don't know. Oh yeah, bro. Okay. We have precious metals. I just got a text from my old buddy, Matt. I used to work with him in Michigan. They have precious metals. They can their own food. He reloads his own ammo. We homestead our kids. Wait, Matt? No way. I would never have known that Matt was in my realm of prepping.
Oh, cool. Well, now we have another person. Bring him into the community.
Well, yeah, he brings up a good point too, because I was going to get into this later on, but you might as well bring it up now. Like, you've heard of like the whole like the Great Reset and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
like, all that.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff. Okay, you'll
own nothing and you'll be happy.
Yeah, you own nothing, you'll be happy. The central bank digital currency, all that stuff. Like you one tends to wonder, and I'm not going to go conspiracy theory here, but there's so much out there that it just makes sense. Like at first the Great Reset thing, like that was all like conspiracy theory. Yeah, the World Economic Forum and that dude comes out and he literally says it, but you start looking at some of the more blue states like California stuff coming out and going, hey, you have, what's the thing with banks now that they're doing in the the liberal banks. There's if it's not like ESG, environmental, governance, and social, like that stuff is coming around to the banks and all that. So you tend to one tends to think, okay, was this bank thing, is this related to that? Like, was this something that was done, I don't know, on purpose? Because I also saw this morning that right before the collapse happened, SVB paid out a bunch of bonuses to everybody before it went down. Yes. Like they knew it was coming and they just said, here's a bunch of money, people. Thanks for your time.
Yep. And a few days beforehand, selling off a bunch of stocks, selling off a bunch of, there was a lot of money being handed out right before that went down. So
yeah, right.
It's all documented.
And it's all documented. And you know what? The thing that really ticks me off, right, is people are saying, okay, the Fed, whatever, the Fed bails them out or whatever. Well, last time this happened, what happened? The banks, the Fed, did the Fed bail out the first time or the second time? There was 2 bailouts. I think the banking industry bailed themselves out because a bunch of big banks bought the little banks. But then again, then the Fed came out and they gave the banks a whole crap ton of money. But at the end of the day, that was taxpayer money that they gave. Mm-hmm. So is this going to be another taxpayer funded bailout? Probably. Are more banks going to start tumbling like dominoes? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and I was just talking to somebody about this earlier today. Just bailouts in general. A lot of times I don't understand them at all. They want to keep that American spirit alive because was it GMC that was bailed out during COVID and all that kind of stuff? There was some kind of car company that I think was bailed out. But it's super frustrating when you see these companies that are making billions upon billions in revenue and profit each year, and then they get bailed out.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the too big to fail companies.
Yeah. And so, if GMC goes under, how will America survive without this American-based company?
Right.
You made hundreds of billions of dollars. It's like Walmart, the CEO just said that he's so frustrated with the amount of theft that's going on that he's threatened to close down all Walmarts. Well, I don't remember the exact numbers. I want to say it was something like $4 billion or $3 billion in theft each year. I think it was $4 billion. But they make $100 billion in profit. So I'm like, 4% is theft, but you're making a 96 profit. Come on. So I'm sure my number is a little bit off, but that's just, that's what I'm talking about is just generally they make so much money and yet they get bailed out all the time. But
well, the other thing that that this affects, right, is when things fail, when confidence goes down, banks fail, whatever, eventually that gets down to goods and services, right? Prices go up and all that stuff. And let's look at what happened with some of the prices. I'm just going to take eggs for now. I'm going to take eggs for now, right? Yeah. So eggs, we all know bird flu and all that. There's millions of chickens getting killed off, and eggs are $5 a dozen now, or some crazy stupid number. Well, what happens when the bird flu? We take care of that, right? Are companies going to now lower prices, or because they jack their prices up, they're making so much stinking money off it? They're not going to
keep it the same.
They're going to keep it the same. It's going to be the new norm, right?
It happens. You can think about it for any scenario. I get so frustrated about fast food places. When there was a shortage on tomatoes. Okay, we're going to now start charging you 30 cents every time you want to add tomato to your order. Well, guess what? The tomato shortage ended. And guess who's still getting charged 30 cents for tomatoes? Like it's once it's added, there's no need to take it back off. We'll just keep on getting extra money from it.
Yeah, because people come accustomed to paying all those higher prices. They'll bark and they'll complain and but then they'll keep paying them. And these companies, after the shortages and all that, then they're just they will make bank on all this stuff. So it's people taking advantage, company CEOs, all that stuff. It's all evil. It's all evil at the end of the day, in my opinion. Like I said in the beginning, like if it comes down to government protecting you as an individual or their money, they're going to pick their money over you every time. That's just the name of the game. So I just, the fact that I have to, in order to survive, I have to bank with a bank and do all that, and some part of me just wants to go move to a third world country and just live nomad.
Yeah, well, you have fun with that. We do have a lot of nice necessities.
Yeah.
But to your point though, I think that's something that we need to keep it more of an eye on. Where's our money going today? Where do we want to continue to fund that? I just placed a bunch of orders on Amazon and Walmart and that kind of stuff. Do I really want my money going to all these big conglomerates or overseas to other countries and that kind of stuff? No, not really. So I know there's other shops out there that are American made and do this and do that. So we're continually looking at how we can keep pumping money into America's economy rather than other people's economies, or not going and paying the big companies all the money. So like getting our beef. We get our beef local now. We have a person down the road. They raise our cattle every year for us. Every 2 years they go to slaughter, and we get our cows. There's a half cow or a whole cow, and we pay a certain fee, and it ends up being a lot cheaper than what it is at the grocery store. That's just a scenario.
Yeah.
But people need to, I think, spend more time, and I'm in the same boat. I need to spend more time finding out, hey, I don't want to always keep buying eggs from the store. I want to start buying them locally because I can't raise them myself yet. So do I know anybody nearby that will sell me eggs?
Because you're liberal
I
neighbor.
need to do that research. Yeah, well, it is what it is. But I just looked up average price of eggs for grade A large, cost per dozen. The average cost right now is $4.82.
Was that what you got up right now?
Yeah, that's as of January 2023. But if you look at 2021? So let's see. January of 2023. Let's look at January of 2022. $1.90. And then
wow.
And then you keep on going down. I mean, August of 2020, it was $1.30 for a dozen. That's a big difference. 4 times cost. That's
in
crazy.
what, 2 years? 3 years?
Yeah, 2 years. 2 years.
That's
and it's
crazy.
never like, I'm looking between 1980. It was pretty much the same all the way through up until about 2004. Yeah. And then that's when it's been going up and up and up since then.
So the other thing to think about, I haven't done a ton of data research on this, so I may be completely inaccurate with this statement. But ever since COVID and some of the shortages and all that, prices are continuing to go up and up and up. Wages have not really followed pricing going up, right? And we're into this mix of, I wonder if, this is the data I don't have, I wonder if like the average American is having to just use credit more just to buy eggs and stuff like that. And then what is that gonna? I mean, that you can only do that for so long, right? You know, people that use credit to pay bills, they can only do that for so long until their available credit runs out, and then they're gonna start paying on that debt. Where there was some crazy statistic, like if you had $5,000 worth of credit card debt and only paid the minimums, it would take 17 years to pay that off. Or something crazy, some crazy numbers like that. Well, what happens when all the people that are doing this, maxing their credit cards out on basic necessities because they have to, stop paying their credit card bills? But that happens like on a national level. Like we're going to have the housing crisis times like 10. And I think it's only a matter of time. If my prediction, if that scenario is actually true, like I could just see that being the case now.
I have seen and heard that, yes, the average credit card debt has skyrocketed. And just doing a quick search from Lending Tree, average credit card debt for Americans that they have in 2021, Q2 of 2021, we were at about $780 billion in credit card debt. At Q4 of 2022, we are at 1 trillion.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I wonder if that growth curve is normal.
Here, I'll just share my screen. How about that?
Yeah. Let's see this. Oh, okay. So that growth curve is not normal. It's shot up.
Yeah, it was, continually, gradually growing since, and probably 2008, I'm assuming. Yeah, 2008 started going back down.
Yeah, people started paying
to about 13.
Off, right?
Yep, and then 13 build all the way up till 19.
Yeah,
which was, let's see, 19 to 20. That was during Trump. I mean,
that might have been during
that
the
may not be
right. That was pre-pandemic, but that time frame there, people were paying down debt. They were using the government money. So a lot of people were like,
that's right.
a lot of people were buying stuff, but there were some smart people that were like, hey, I'm going to take this extra $5,000 I just got from the government, pay down my credit card debt. So that's where that's coming from, is that. And then it looks like it's just from there.
Boom. I mean, it went from
up.
780 to 850.
Yeah.
850 up to just, I mean, this was end of 2022. So
we'll get our
get the next report here.
Yeah, well, at the end of the month, we should get the next, the Q1 for 23 and see where that's at. But that's something to maybe look out for. And maybe that's part of the preparedness of like financial preparedness is occasionally checking in on numbers like that, looking for the indicators of debt and all that other stuff. And just because it's like I said, I'm not a financial guy. I watch a bunch of financial channels, a bunch of guys who are way smarter, like Hershey Financial. He's a really good guy on YouTube. He breaks things down in like 7-year-old terms, so I can understand it. So it makes sense to me. And I typically listen to him because all the stuff that he said that, hey, watch out for this, watch the Fed this, watch the Fed that, you'll see this happen. All that stuff has been like, he's been spot on through the whole thing. He doesn't make a ton of predictions like, oh, in July of this year, we have 12 weeks before the end of the financial world ends. Like, he's not one of those guys. He's really good though.
Yeah.
But, is this something to watch, And we're just talking, this is just credit card debt. I mean, this is just one form of debt. Like, this is on the consumer side. So the SVB thing, that was on that was an investment bank for tech startups mainly. So, I mean, there are so many ways that this house of cards can tumble. There's so many ways that this can tumble. All in all, you still have to worry about those of you who are preppers and follow us and other like-minded preparers. Not only do you have to worry about like, okay, a financial collapse. Now you have to turn and go, oh my gosh, there's the financial collapse. There's the war in Ukraine. There's Russia. There's China. There's all this other stuff. There's the sun. Like there's all these things, right? This to think about. I don't think the human brain was built to try to comprehend all of this stuff. Okay. No. To try to consume, and this happens to me a lot, to try to consume all of this information on all these different preparedness sectors, like disasters, war, World War III, nuclear war, balloons overhead, financial stuff. Like it gets depressing really fast.
Well, it's because we have media at our fingertips. I mean, we have literally all the information all together, all at once, at all times. We're being bombarded with information on a daily basis. You think back to even the 60s. I mean, you didn't have this kind of technology that we have today.
No.
Just constantly like sending you push notifications on your phone, TV's constantly spamming it, radio constantly. I mean, you had all that stuff, but not the technology that we have today.
But now, and the difference now is, you got Twitter, TikTok, but now you have algorithms and AI that's targeting you. Side note, I need to send you a documentary I watched. Freaked me out. And I don't get freaked out a whole ton about AI and tech because we work in tech. But PBN or Frontier did this documentary, right? And and they were talking about AI in China and like all the different sectors, who's ahead, who's behind, and it was really, really well done, right? And all the stuff they were talking about, like with China, with facial recognition, like in China, there's no credit, there's no cards, there's no debit card.
People score.
It's your face. No, it's in order to get like a loan, but like an average person goes into McDonald's and orders a cheeseburger, and in order to finalize that transaction, they smile in front of the camera, and bam, that camera, because it's facial recognition, they know everything just by that. Okay, so the surveillance and all that's happening in China, all that freaked me out, right? What freaked me out even more is I finished watching that documentary. I'm like, China's there, like, because they were saying like in 3 years, China's going to be ahead of the U.S. even more than what it is now. So I watched that. I'm like, this was really, really good, really eye-opening about AI and all this stuff. And then I looked at when this documentary was actually made and posted. It was 3 years ago. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my, they had this 3 years ago. God knows how far they've come in 3 years. Side note, sorry, I didn't want to get on the AI talk. I got to send you the link to the documentary.
Please do. And then also after you send that, look up Amazon's self checkout for grocery stores and that kind of stuff. They now scan your palm to place your orders. So you go pick up all your stuff. It recognizes the items that you put in your cart. It's constantly looking at your face, constantly checking your bag. And then you just scan your handprint, look at the camera, whatever the case may be.
They've had that in China for over 3 years.
I mean, but if you think about it, they've been building us up for that too. You look at the self-checkout lanes. How many times you go to the store and you people don't want to go through a normal checkout lane with a person anymore because they usually think I could do it faster or
we don't like
whatever
each other
if I just
anymore.
do it myself. Yep, exactly. 2, you've got the machine where no cash is allowed, card only. So now I can track your transaction. You've got the camera to see your face so that you don't steal anything, but they also get to see your face and know who you are. So they track your face, your transactions, what you purchased. I mean, they can easily flip a switch saying, hey, you can only buy 2 loaves of bread, 1 gallon of milk.
Yeah.
2 boxes of raisins.
And that's actually part of this, like some of this itinerary or whatever for the Great Reset. If you go and read about it, like that's part of it is, there are steps that there's a plan. There's always a plan, right? Where they're like, the first thing is, obviously they got to get rid of cash, so they have to go to a digital currency. But then with all this AI that they're bringing in, China's leading the way on a lot of this AI stuff. But with what you're saying with the Amazon, where it's all facial recognition and all that, well, it all ties together, people. I don't think people understand how much this actually ties together, because all of the information and all of the things that your data, all the data that is collected on you, is being used. Like it is being used, like down to like your Google or your Alexa camera recognizing what you do, that will a trained model, a trained data science model is then predicting your habits, and that all feeds into, let's just call it this master database. There's, let's just say it's just all feeding into the system. And when they finally bring out this central bank digital currency and all that, where you will own nothing and you will be happy, that's where the control comes in, because an AI actually, you train a good AI, you have a good model and you train a good AI, the AI will eventually teach itself and know you better than you know yourself. Because in China, one of the things that they do is, in order to apply for credit, right? It actually takes about 7 seconds to apply for credit in China, because the AI already knows your habits. And they take measurements based on literally they look at how often your phone is charged to full in order to establish whether you're creditworthy. Like they said, one of the reasons, like if your phone's always dead, like that's a negative indicator that you won't pay your bills. Like that's how much this AI is doing and how scary accurate it is. And it all plays into this Great Reset, central bank digital currency. It all ties together, but right now it's conspiracy. So,
which is weird because I'm sure you watched the movie Eagle Eye back in 2008.
Yeah.
Come on. The whole robot. We have the exact same technology, and it's out there. It's all over the news. They talk about it all the time about, that China scans people's faces and they've got people credit scores and they know who's good and who's bad and what they can get approved for. They openly communicate and talk about it daily. But people are so shut out from it. They just don't even want to I can't even think about that.
Yeah. Because people may be shut out. They may have heard what all the rant that I just did. They might just be like, well, that's China. That's not the US. You have to be naive as all get out to think that the US doesn't have data scientists in a stinking vault right now working on this stuff 24/7, because it's the future. It literally is the future. This is the way we're going, and it's not going to stop. It's just the way that it is. It's the technological exponential curve. If China's doing it and they're having success in a communist dictatorship country, imagine what it can do in a democracy. It can be so great. Yes, we need to be ahead of we need to be ahead of that, so we're going to do it better. It's out there, and it's coming. And if you don't think it's coming, you're head in the sand.
And we brought up a few of those scenarios. We brought up grocery stores, but I just pulled one up. I just looked up traffic cams, Indiana. And look at that. You've got cameras that I can pull it up right now, today, at this current moment. I can actively see every single highway that these cameras are on. And you think people's license plates are being monitored from here? Like, oh, well, Cameron's out for a stroll tonight. But there's a live feed on all of these. I just don't have it turned on because I don't want to, delay my my bandwidth or whatever.
Suck your bandwidth.
But exactly. But you're being tracked at all times. I mean, especially if you live in a city. I don't live in a city. I live in a city, but I'm not in like Chicago or New York or something like that where everything is being tracked. So
yeah, if you're a prepper and you live in the city, get out if you can.
Good Lord. I feel bad for some of those people. What was one of them? Angry Prepper, the New York Prepper. Yeah. Have you heard of him?
I've heard of him. I haven't.
He's I think he's a firefighter in New York. But he goes by the Angry Prepper. And he's just constantly talking about, he's got his different plans. If this happens, this is where we're going. This is what we're doing. But it's just constantly figuring out. I mean, you could tell he's saving to get moved out of the state, but he pulls up a lot of content daily. Here's how this city's going down. Here's how it's going to happen. Here's, whatever. But when they had that, I know, side rant, I'm kind of going off topic here, but when the whole announcement in New York about like, if there's a nuclear bomb that were to go off, this is what you need to do. He brought that up. And he's like, are you freaking kidding me? Guys, wake up. They are telling us right now to our faces, like it's going to happen. And we're doing nothing about it.
Oh, no. It's
so, anyways.
I mean, there's a lot of that going on. Like, the other day, I don't know if it was hackers, whatever. There's that whole nuclear social media thing that went out. I think it was in Ukraine or it was in somewhere over there. Some government broadcast or some broadcast went out about, hey, nukes are coming, seek shelter and get your iodine pills. And it ended up being hackers. Or was it?
By the way, the person you were trying to think about earlier for the World Economic Forum or the Great Reset was Klaus Schwab.
Klaus Schwab. It was the Klaus.
What was really interesting, I don't, this is my first time actually going to the website. I'm sure I'm going to be tracked now because, hey, we've got a new follower. But
it's all right. You're on a work laptop, so you're good.
That is true. I do know somewhere on this page was people that follow the World Economic Forum's thoughts, opinions, whatever. But it was actually showing U.S. Government officials. Like, oh, this person is all for blah, 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 blah. And it's like, so you're not on like a paycheck somewhere to, hey, I need you to get in here and push this certain agenda so that we can make this easier. That's got to be happening.
Listen, there's a reason why if you run for Congress and you end up getting elected for Congress, in a few short years, you will be a multimillionaire.
Oh, yeah.
It's not because Congress, the salary of a congressman isn't that good. It's all of if you're shady, you will make so much money. It's the perks of being a congressman, and it's all public information. And I can't believe why anybody has not just go read about any congressman, look up the public records of the investments of congressmen and senators and all that stuff, because it's all public information. They all invest in the companies that have government contracts. And do you think these congressmen don't know what's coming? And if I were to do that, that's called insider trading. But they can do it with complete immunity. Anyway.
Because everybody knows that they'll do something. They'll bring it up. They'll say something, and then they won't be around much longer. So
if they say anything, they'll get ousted. And if the public bring it up, we're then labeled racist and homophobes and, Trumpers, Trumpers.
I did see was it California Democrat? She said based on all the January 6th footage that's now coming out, there was a full apology. Like, hey, I am so sorry. Like, I fell into the trap of watching media and believing everything that was said and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, maybe there's a lot more people waking up. I don't know. That kind of media is real.
But is the amount of people waking up, is that enough? Is that enough? That is the question of the day. So yeah. Anything else? We're at a couple more minutes.
I think so. I guess one announcement. So we do have a Discord channel, and I do want to start getting more content pumped into there. So we've got a link tree. We've got Discord on there. So in the show notes, that kind of stuff, we'll have link to the link tree. But I would love to get more conversation in there. If anybody listening to this wants to get more details on certain topics, or have us focus on something specific, or I would love it if people just put anything in there just for us to, I would happily dive into whatever topic and give more and more details. But one of the things that I do want to do more research on this weekend, especially with all these bank announcements. I mean, this is my first, in 2008, I had just graduated. I graduated in high school, 2007. So like I was fresh into college. So I didn't really get to experience all of that because I was just working and going to college, and that was it, but I didn't have stocks and 401ks and, all the goodies that everybody else has as you get older. So I'm going to be adding it to my list of doing more research. But I'm curious, like, who people use for buying gold and silver, or is there recommendations out there on, a certain percentage of your, not salary, but your wealth should be in material, gold, silver, gold backs, something like that. Have you looked into gold backs, by the way? Did I tell you?
They're just super expensive.
They are. I did find a outlet that sells them for cheap, or cheaper, I should say. And the guy that runs the gold backs, he was like, hey, if you don't get it for this certain price, look somewhere else because you could find it cheaper. And I found that location. So I'll have to go back and find where that was, but I'll send you the link, and I'll put the links inside of Discord as well. So but I would love to get more conversation in there. So for your friend, was it Matt that you said was a prepper? I know we're starting more conversations for homeschooling and stuff as well. So we'll probably get some content in there and just start pumping it in there for other people that are interested. So
that's a conversation we've been having off and on. Is about potential homeschooling and all that stuff. So I am just one teacher's comment away from just pulling my kid out, but we'll see what happens. But in any case,
thank you for listening to the Preppin Patriots podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please.
Oh my gosh! Stop! I hit I fat fingered the wrong button. I apologize. It was just a seamless production so far. No glitches, no nothing, no crazy mic things. Seamless. Transitions have been amazing. And then I go fat finger, this typical production guy. No, so in any case, people, we'll wrap it at that. But go check out the Discord. I'll put we'll put the link tree in the show notes of the podcast, the description of the YouTube, and somewhere on Facebook. It's already on our Facebook page. We'll figure it out as we go along. We've got to get that YouTube thing figured out. I'll talk to you offline about that. But in any case, and if you enjoyed our conversation, please let us know. Leave some comments, whether you liked it or not. Trust me, I can take it. It's no big deal. If you didn't like it, again, please comment what you didn't like. It's no big deal. I don't care. So in any case, thank you everybody for checking us out. We'll try to do this again on Wednesday. We've kind of been hit and miss on the schedule, but you know what? I think we can get this going on Wednesday. We'll figure out a topic to talk about then. So, in any case, guys, appreciate you. Have a great day. Good night. We'll see you on Wednesday.
See you, everybody.
See ya.
Thank Thank you for listening to the Preppin Patriots podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a 5-star review. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so at contact@preppinpatriots.stream. And finally, this episode was sponsored by
Stream is not starting
nobody.
soon.